Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so today we're diving deep into Perfect Marriage
Oh, Perfect Marriage by Jeneva Rose.
by Jeneva Rose.
Yes.
So you see the title and you think, okay, this is going to be like a psychological suspense novel.
Right.
But oh my goodness, the twists and turns in this book,
Oh, yeah.
it will leave you. I mean, I was like rereading parts because I'm like, wait, what? Hold on, what just happened?
It's like from the very beginning, she sets up like what you think is going to be this like normal marital landscape.
Right.
But then she pulls the rug out from under you.
Yes.
And then it's like layer after layer
Yes.
of like darkness and complexity that you don't see coming at all.
Yeah, so our mission today, and I think this will be fun for our listeners, is to kind of go through chronologically, like the key events of the book.
Okay.
Because I think like just going back and like mapping it out really shows you how the author like was able to like misdirect you and like set the stage for all these twists.
I think that's a great idea. It's like, I think of it like kind of navigating through a maze.
Yes.
And there are all these twists and turns, and you think you know where you're going, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, what just happened?
Right.
So walking through it chronologically, you're going to see like how the sands shift like throughout the story.
Yes.
And how your perspective on these characters just completely changes from beginning to end.
Yeah. So let's step into this world.
Okay,
Okay.
let's do it.
We meet Sarah and Adam Morgan.
The Morgans.
They are like getting ready. They're going to be celebrating their 10th wedding anniversary.
10 years, that's a big one.
That's a big one, right? You would think, okay, 10th wedding anniversary, this is going to be like a really happy time for them. They're going to be looking back, you know, all the joys that they've shared. But instead, like even just in like those opening pages, you sense this underlying tension between them.
Yeah.
You know, Sarah is a pop criminal defense attorney.
Right.
She's like at the top of her game.
Mm-hmm.
But you also know, or it quickly becomes clear, that her demanding career has like taken its toll on their marriage.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think from the beginning, you see that Adam feels very much secondary to her work.
Yes.
Like his feelings, his needs are always kind of put on the back burner because of what she's doing.
Right. And this plays out in the opening scene. We see Sarah apologizing for, you know, missing a trip that they had planned. They were going to go to their lake house.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she had to cancel because of work. And, you know, Adam's trying to be understanding. But you can tell, like, this is a pattern.
Right.
This isn't just like a one-time thing.
Yeah. It's like, it's always, oh, sorry, honey, I've got to work.
Exactly.
It seems like her work always comes first.
Exactly. And the next day is their 10th wedding anniversary.
Wow. So the tension's already high.
And the tension is high, right? And I think for Adam, you know, he loves her. He's always, you know, known she was destined for great things, but I think he's really struggling.
Yeah.
You know,
I can imagine.
10 years in, and he's still kind of wrestling with, like, will her work always take precedence over him
Right.
and their relationship?
Absolutely.
And then we get to their anniversary. The gift exchange, I think, is very telling.
Oh, okay.
So Sarah gives Adam this lavish watch.
Okay.
It's engraved with the total number of minutes that they've spent together
Wow.
over the past decade.
Okay.
5,256,000 minutes.
That's a lot of minutes.
It's a lot of minutes. You know, she's Sarah. She's very big, grand gesture.
Right.
But, like, what does a gift like that say?
Yeah, I mean, it is a grand gesture.
Right.
I mean, it's acknowledging all the time that they've spent together.
Right.
But it also feels very,
Calculated.
yes, calculated, like almost cold in a way.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to like quantify their love.
Yes.
Like it's billable hours or something.
Yes.
Like it just lacks a certain warmth. You know what I mean?
Yes. And Adam's reaction, you can tell he's conflicted
Oh, yeah, I bet.
because he admires her drive. He admires her brilliance.
Right.
But that admiration is kind of intertwined with this resentment.
Right.
Because he's like, but it's at the expense of our relationship.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
He even admits, like, whenever he can, he retreats to their lake house because she's always at the office.
It's almost like they're living separate lives at this point.
Yes, and this brings us to the introduction of Kelly Summers.
Ooh, Kelly Summers.
Adam is having an affair.
Okay.
And we see him, like, at the lake house.
Okay.
This is the place where he was supposed to be with Sarah.
Right.
He's there with Kelly. And, you know, in his mind, he's, like, comparing her to Sarah. And he sees Kelly as, like, this breath of fresh air. She's what he calls imperfectly perfect, which is such a contrast to Sarah, who's always so composed.
Right. Always so put together.
Always so put together, always, high achieving.
Have you ever noticed, like with infidelity, it's often this search for the qualities that seem to be lacking in the primary relationship?
It's like that pull to the different, right.
Yeah.
And he's drawn to the fact that Kelly is not as driven, not as demanding.
Right.
And there's this one line, this internal monologue, where he basically is like, you don't get to be the top criminal defense attorney by putting your husband first.
Wow.
So he's made this like harsh assessment
Yeah.
of their relationship.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah. And you see Adam and Kelly kind of bonding
Okay.
over their like shared marital dissatisfaction.
Okay.
They're both in these marriages that aren't fulfilling them.
Right.
So they find comfort and intimacy
Right.
in each other.
Right.
We see them at the lake house sharing scotch,
Right.
really connecting.
Yeah.
But then here's where things take a turn.
Okay.
So it's their anniversary.
Mm.
And Adam has been with Kelly,
Okay.
but he ends up sleeping with Sarah.
Oh, wow.
And in that moment, he has a realization. He's like, you know what? I want to have a family with Sarah. I want to make this work.
Okay.
He decides he's going to end it with Kelly
Oh, wow.
because he finds out Sarah's pregnant.
Oh, wow. So he's going to be a dad.
He's going to be a dad. This is like a turning point for him, right?
Yeah. It seems like it. Like he's making a choice
Right.
to fully commit to his marriage, to Sarah, to this future that they're going to have,
Right.
to their child.
Yes.
But little does he know
Little does he know.
what he's set in motion.
Exactly.
That's the thing with this book.
Right.
Every decision has all these ripple effects
Yes.
that you don't see coming.
And so now the narrative shifts to Sarah's perspective.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that she's having her own sort of revelation
Like-
around the same time.
Interesting.
So she loves her career. It's very fulfilling to her, but she's like, it's not everything. I want more. I want love. I want family. I want like a deeper meaning.
Right.
And she's like really resolute about this pregnancy.
Okay.
So they're both kind of like having this.
Like a parallel awakening almost.
Yes.
They're both like craving something more,
Yes.
but they're doing it like in completely different ways.
And without talking to each other.
Right. Exactly.
So that is where a lot of the miscommunication and like the misinterpretations.
Right. And the drama starts to unfold.
Exactly.
Because they're not communicating. They're
Yeah.
just making these decisions on their own.
We also get to see like another side of Sarah.
Okay.
She's very protective of her assistant, Anne.
Okay, Anne.
There's this scene where she confronts their colleague, Bob,
Okay.
about how he's been treating Anne.
Okay.
And she's like, no, this is not okay.
Right.
She's like really loyal to her.
Yeah.
And they work in this like very male-dominated environment.
It's like a boys' club.
It's a boys' club. Have you ever worked in an environment where you had to like really stick up for a coworker?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important, especially, if you're working in an environment where there's a power imbalance.
Exactly.
It's so important to have each other's backs.
And then we meet Matthew.
Yeah.
He's like an old acquaintance of Sarah's.
Right.
He moves to DC.
Okay.
And he's got this very like cynical view
Oh, interesting. Okay.
of like family life.
Okay.
He like calls babies and animals just like knickknacks that serve no purpose.
Wow. Okay.
But you can tell like Sarah values his friendship.
Yeah.
She enjoys having him around. What do you make of his role in her life at this point?
I think it's interesting that, like, he kind of represents, like, the opposite of what she's now craving.
Right.
He's very career-focused,
Right.
doesn't seem interested in family life
Right.
at all.
Right.
So it's almost like she's drawn to him because he represents this part of her life that she's trying to move away from.
Right. And then we have the scene. Sarah's had this huge, like, professional triumph. She
Oh.
won this big case.
Okay.
And so she's celebrating with Anne and Matthew. They're having dinner.
Nice.
Champagne is flowing.
Sounds fun.
And then she gets this call from Adam's mother, Eleanor.
Uh-oh. Eleanor. Okay.
And when you get a call from the mother-in-law, especially when you're in the middle of, like, a celebration, you know something's wrong.
Yeah, that's never good.
That's never good.
Yeah, and especially if there's already tension in the marriage.
Right.
I mean, a mother-in-law can just add fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a recipe for drama.
So the next day, Sarah is visiting Sheriff Stevens.
Okay.
And we find out, like, there was an incident with Adam.
Oh, okay.
That's all they say.
Vague.
Vague.
Yeah.
And this is where Kelly Summers is reintroduced, but this time through a photograph
Yeah.
that Sheriff Stevens shows Sarah.
Mm.
And Sarah denies knowing who Kelly is.
Ooh, right.
But we know she's having an affair with Adam.
Right.
So this denial, like, what does that tell you about her?
Right. It's like she knows something.
Right.
And, like, is she trying to protect Adam?
Right.
Is she trying to protect herself?
Right.
Like, it just creates this, like, sense of unease.
Yes.
It's like, okay, there's something going on here.
Yes. And then we find out why Sarah's meeting with the sheriff.
Okay.
Sheriff Stevens tells her Kelly's been murdered
Oh, my goodness.
at the lake house.
Wow.
And it's brutal. She was stabbed 37 times,
Oh.
and there are no signs of a struggle.
Wow. So it wasn't like a fight or anything?
No, she was either asleep or incapacitated.
That's scary.
The sheriff even calls it a crime of passion.
A crime of passion.
Like, this really changes the tone.
oh, yeah.
It's no longer like a marital drama. It's like full-blown murder mystery.
Yeah.
And we see Sarah at the police station with Adam.
Okay.
Her demeanor is like strange.
Okay.
She's very detached, very professional.
So even though this is her husband?
It's like she's treating him as just another one of her clients.
Huh. Okay.
He, on the other hand, is frantic. He's proclaiming his innocence.
Oh.
He's telling her he loves her.
Okay.
And, you know, we know he's having an affair.
Right.
So it's like,
Makes you wonder.
how genuine are his
Yeah.
feelings?
Yeah.
Sarah's detachment, it really highlights, like, her ability to, like, compartmentalize.
Yes.
You know, even when she's in, like, a really emotional situation.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, this is a woman who's used to dealing with criminals
Exactly.
and, really high-pressure situations.
Right.
So maybe that's just her coping mechanism.
Right. And then we get a flashback. We see Adam's first meeting with Kelly
Okay, at Seth's coffee.
at Seth's Coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we see, like, how he became infatuated with her, how, he saw her as this, like, different.
Yeah, from Sarah.
Different from Sarah.
Yeah.
And then they start talking, and he learns that Kelly is unhappy in her own marriage.
So they bonded over that, too.
Exactly. It wasn't just, like, a physical attraction. They
Right.
really were drawn to each other.
And it makes Kelly more sympathetic, too.
Right.
Because she's not just like the other woman.
Right.
She's someone who's also in a bad marriage.
Yes.
Looking for connection.
Yeah.
So it makes their relationship more complicated.
So back to the sheriff's station, things escalate. Kelly's husband shows up,
Oh, wow. Okay.
Scott.
Scott.
We find out he's a police officer,
Oh, that's interesting.
and he and Adam get into a physical altercation.
Okay.
Adam is injured, so now we have Scott, who's a cop,
Right.
and he's clearly, like, very emotional.
Right. I mean, his wife was just murdered.
Right.
It's understandable.
But, like, what are your thoughts on him being a cop?
Well, it makes things more complicated, right?
Right.
Because it's like, is he going to use his power to influence the investigation?
Exactly.
Is he trying to cover something up?
Yeah.
It just adds a whole other layer of, like, suspicion.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, well, he has access to things that other people don't.
Right.
So you can't help but wonder what role he might have played.
Right.
And it kind of undermines the whole idea of a fair and impartial investigation, right?
Right. Sheriff Stevens has his own concerns.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know if Adam did this, and if he did, would he do it at his own home? It's like, we're starting to think, okay, maybe Adam's not the one.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's something else going on here.
Yeah, and Sheriff Stevens, he's not your typical, like, by-the-book cop.
Yeah.
It's like he's willing to think outside the box.
Yes.
And he makes this decision to take Sarah to the crime scene.
Yes.
Why do you think he does that?
It's strange, right? Like, you wouldn't normally take the spouse of the suspect to the crime scene.
It's like he's almost like inviting her into the investigation.
Yeah.
Or at least to be like an observer.
Right. And so, meanwhile, Adam wakes up in the hospital and he's handcuffed to the bed.
Wow.
And Sarah is at home, and she's starting to think, like, okay, if Adam didn't do this, who did?
Right.
And she decides she's going to go back to Seth's Coffee
Okay.
and talk to Brenda.
Who's Brenda?
She's Kelly's coworker.
Oh, okay.
And Sarah's hoping to learn more
Right.
about Kelly and,
Right.
like, what her life was like.
Right, to try to figure out who might have wanted to hurt her.
Exactly.
Yeah, it shows that Sarah's like, she's not just sitting back.
Right.
She's proactive.
Yes.
She's trying to get to the bottom of this herself.
Yes, and, like, even with everything going on, she gets this supportive text from Matthew.
Okay.
So, even though he's, like, a little bit cynical, he is there for her.
She's in her corner.
And Adam is struggling.
Yeah, I bet.
he's in the hospital facing this, like, serious situation.
Right.
But he can't bring himself to call Sarah.
Oh, wow.
He feels like he's responsible.
Yeah, I can imagine he's feeling guilty.
Even if he didn't kill Kelly, he's
Right.
like, this is all happening because of me.
Right.
Because of the choices that I made.
Exactly.
And then we have this flashback where we get this crucial information about Kelly's past.
Ooh, okay.
So she reveals to Adam that her real name is Jenna Way.
Well, okay.
And she was previously married.
Okay.
And get this, she was accused of killing her husband.
Oh, my goodness.
She says she's innocent,
Okay.
but her current husband, Scott, the cop,
Right.
stepped in, had the charges dropped,
Okay.
and now he uses this to control her.
Wow. So he's got leverage over her.
Yes. So Kelly is not who she said she was.
Right.
This adds a whole other layer, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like, this makes you question everything you thought you knew about her.
Right.
And it also brings up the possibility that, maybe her murder is connected to her past.
Yes.
Maybe it has nothing to do with Adam at all.
Right.
And then you have to wonder, like, is Scott involved?
Right.
Like, what does he know?
Exactly. So Sarah, armed with this information, she shares it with Anne.
Okay.
And she asks her to do some background checks on Kelly and Scott.
Oh, okay.
She's like using all her resources
Yeah.
to figure out what's going on.
And, it shows how smart she is.
Yeah.
That even though she's potentially representing Adam, she's also doing her own investigation.
Right.
Like, she wants to know the truth.
Yes.
Regardless of whether it helps Adam or not.
And Adam's mother, Eleanor, she shows up at Sarah's office.
Oh, boy.
And she's like, so cold to her.
Yeah.
So we're seeing like even more of the family drama playing out.
Right.
Eleanor blames Sarah for
Right.
what's happening.
Yeah, it's classic mother-in-law, daughter-in-law tension.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she's protecting her son
Exactly.
and doesn't really care about Sarah's feelings.
Right. And then Sheriff Stevens gives Sarah the autopsy and DNA results.
Okay.
We find out Kelly had Rohypnol in her system.
Rohypnol, so like a date rape drug?
Yes.
Wow.
And the DNA confirms that Adam is the father of Kelly's unborn child.
Oh, wow. So she was pregnant with his child.
Yes.
This keeps getting more and more complicated.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what does this mean? Like, what are the implications?
Well, I mean, the Rohypnol suggests that maybe Kelly was incapacitated before she was killed.
Oh, right.
Which means it might not have been Adam.
Right.
And then the fact that she was pregnant with his child just adds another layer of motive
Right.
and potential conflict.
And then here's another twist.
Okay.
The DNA shows that there were actually 2 other sets of DNA on Kelly
Okay.
that don't belong to Adam.
So there were other people involved?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. This changes things.
This changes everything.
Yeah. It means that Adam might not be the only one who had a motive to kill her.
Right.
And it also suggests that, maybe something else was going on.
Right.
Like maybe she was attacked by someone else entirely.
And Sarah goes to the lake house, the crime scene.
Okay.
And you can tell, like, she's really affected by it.
Yeah, I bet.
Seeing the place where this, like, brutal crime happened.
Right.
A place where she has memories
Right.
of her life with
That
Adam.
must be so surreal.
Yeah. And Sheriff Stevens actually, like, comforts her a little bit.
Oh, wow.
He, like, puts his hand on her shoulder.
So he's showing some empathy.
Yeah.
Maybe he sees her as a victim, too, in all of this.
Right.
Or maybe he's just trying to build trust with her.
Right.
Oh,
And while Sarah's there, she makes a discovery.
okay.
She finds this photograph
Okay.
of Adam and Kelly together.
Okay.
And it has a note attached to it,
A note.
a
Okay.
threatening note.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It says, "End it or I will."
Wow. That's creepy.
So clearly somebody else knew about the affair
Right.
and wanted it to stop.
And was willing to use threats to make it happen.
Exactly.
So this completely changes the game.
Right.
Because now it's like, okay, maybe Adam wasn't acting on his own.
Right.
Maybe he was being threatened.
Yes.
Maybe someone else was pulling the strings.
So Sarah confronts Adam about the photo,
Okay.
and she's asking him about any threats he might have received.
Right.
But his memory is kind of selective.
Selective. Okay.
Yeah, he remembers some things, but not others.
Okay.
And Sarah's getting frustrated. She's like, come on, you need to be honest with me.
Right.
And I think at this point, Sarah's really thinking, okay, maybe someone is trying to frame Adam.
Yeah, because all the signs are pointing that way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the threatening note.
Right.
You've got the other DNA at the crime scene.
Right.
It's like someone's trying to make Adam look guilty.
Yes.
Even though he might not be.
But Adam, he's still so focused on Scott.
Oh, Scott, the husband.
He's like, it has to be Scott.
Even though there's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
Okay.
And then Sarah shows him a note.
A note, okay.
He wrote to Kelly
Okay.
the night she died.
Yeah.
But she never got it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think, like, the significance of that note is?
Well, I mean, it's like this lost communication between them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, what was he going to say to her?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Was he going to break up with her?
Right.
Was he going to confess his love?
Right.
Like, it just adds to the mystery.
And then Adam finds out Kelly was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
He's devastated.
Yeah, I bet.
You can tell, like, the full weight of the situation is, like, hitting him now.
Right.
You know?